call him an ex-colleague, a colleague and a friend, Thomas Ashley Brown, known to those of us who knew him at that time as Ash. Ashley was a loyal, stalwart, and extremely perceptive member of the development department for several years, leaving in 2005. And I say extremely perceptive because I was going through some old files today, and I happened to come across a memo from the very same. No, this is not a joke. This is not a joke. This is for real. From the very same Ashley Brown, directed to Patty McGrath, who was then the director of development, dated June 2003, June 20th. And he said, as PSI attempts to attract significant private sector support for its programs to offset uncertain government contributions and stagnant foundation grants, I've been grappling with the nagging feeling that we are not offering our future corporate partners enough of a hook, a reason why I should care. And then went on to lay out a strategy for attracting and maintaining corporate support for PSI that took us just about 5.5 or 6 years after your departure to really begin to put into place. So, you know, a lot of things have stayed the same perhaps, but a lot of things have also changed. And Ash has been telling me that he's had a tour around the United States. I knew when he left here in 2005, it was to go work in New York. He'd come to us, I think, from Boston, and then went to Seattle and worked at the Gates Foundation, and for the last few months has been at Coca-Cola as the Director of Digital Communications and Social Media, a space in which we are all very interested in learning more and playing more. So, Ash, thank you very much for coming back. Our loyal alumni are something that we cherish enormously and that we continue to learn from, and we, of course, hope that the experiences you had here prepared you to do all of the great things that you've gone on to do. So,
thank you very much. Wow, I can't believe I actually wrote that back then. Probably wouldn't write
I'll
that
give
today.
it to Marshall, who is now corporate marketing and communications.
Thank you all so much for having me back. You know, when I look back on my career, which I've never really planned very much, I do have to say that it was PSI that rolled the dice and gave a 23-year-old a chance when we were essentially in another recession, when it was difficult to get started. So I have a deep amount of gratitude to this organization for launching me in life, and I don't think that ever goes away. So thank you for having me. I'm happy to be back. You know, it's interesting, and before we talk about some of the social media landscape, I want to talk a bit about sort of the priorities that PSI has and how that meshes with what we're seeing in corporate America and certainly at Coke. I think that we are in an extraordinary time, really, when there is unprecedented, certainly far different from 2003 when I was working in development. Companies have begun and really are caring a great deal about the world around them. I think they're seeing the very real business benefits that come from that, the business needs to engage. So I would say absolutely, please keep what you're doing, keep talking, approaching corporate America as a potential partner, because at least at Coke, there are significant investments both on the business side to become more sustainable, both in health and wellness, but also environmental sustainability, water stewardship, as water becomes an increasingly scarce resource. But then also, you know, on the side of, you know, providing assistance to people who are attempting to come up with some of these solutions and also innovating ourselves. We recently rolled out a bottle that was made from 30% plants. And that work is not stopping. So there is, I think that there's a great, bright future in partnership between organizations like PSI and corporate America. On the social media front, which is why you invited me here, I think it's very interesting to me. We always feel like we're behind, and at Coke, I definitely feel like we are struggling and grappling with probably most of the same issues that you are. There's a great feeling that we're going through this extraordinary transformation. I think that transformation's done, actually. Certainly, in most of the people that you talk to as donors in the developed world, we've sort of moved online. We're no longer transitioning. Most people get all of their news online at this point. And what's really interesting is the data we're seeing people are self-selecting where they get their news and information to get it from outlets with which they already agree. Mm-hmm. So there's increasingly less opportunity to both engage people in the traditional way, but also change their minds in the traditional way. So I think it means we're all going to have to sort of jump out of the box and do a complete rethink of how we engage with consumers. And I think you also have to make the inside match the outside, and that's where we're certainly struggling at Coke, a very typically very hierarchical company that does things for many reasons just because they've always been done that way. One of the things that we're really exploring that you have already taken the leap in is internal social collaboration tools. I believe if there is one thing that is going to absolutely revolutionize how we work, it is internal social collaboration tools. Y'all use Socialcast. We're experimenting not only with Socialcast, but with a couple of others as well, because we have some unique security things that we have to solve. But if you think about it, we work the way we lived 50 years ago, and that we come into work and we sit at a desk and we write letters to each other all day. And that's just not an efficient way of collaborating. It takes forever. There's enormous potential for miscommunication or across cultural barriers. Things don't translate. At Coke, about 90% of our marketers are based outside of the United States. So we lose days waiting for people to respond. Your email gets lost in someone's mailbox. It's 2 weeks before they discover that you sent it to them. It's just a really inefficient way of working. We're noticing that in our pilots of Socialcast and Tibber and Chatter, that response times dramatically reduced. A marketer in Belgium answers a question of a marketer in South Africa before we even wake up. The ability to have version control, to bubble great ideas to the top, all of that's facilitated by these collaboration tools, so please use them. They are phenomenal. They will dramatically change your life. I would guess most of you are familiar